When a millionaire accidentally got into the wrong car, an incredible act of kindness was revealed. Sam Thompson stepped out of the glitzy charity gala, the aroma of expensive cuisine and the sounds of laughter still ringing in his ears. He was used to the spotlight, dressed in tailored suits that screamed success. But tonight, an unexpected encounter would flip his world. As he glanced at his phone, a dazzling message from a friend caught his attention. In his distraction, Sam opened the door to a cramped, beaten-up minivan instead of his chauffeur-driven luxury car. It was a moment of misstep that would change everything. Inside the car, Emily Carter sat gripping the wheel, gauging the pouring rain with weariness etched across her brow. Her life, a whirlwind of waitress shifts and cleaning jobs, revolved around her two kids, Zoe and Ethan. "What the hell?" she gasped, turning to him wide-eyed and startled. Sam's heart raced, but he was too far committed to turn back, trapped in a surreal moment that was both embarrassing and strangely intriguing. Emily's lived experiences bubbled to the surface as she shared her struggles. Each word cracked open the polished shield Sam wore around himself like a heavy cloak. She spoke of nights spent worrying about bills that kept piling up on her kitchen table, dreams for a better life tucked away as she worked tirelessly to make ends meet. For the first time, Sam felt a tightness in his chest, realizing how disconnected he had been. A flicker of understanding ignited within him. Suddenly, wealth and status stood as mere distractions from the true colors of life. The world outside darkened as thunder rolled ominously. Emily's lips tightened in worry, and Sam felt the mounting weight of the unfolding storm. He instinctively reached for his wallet, offering cash for repairs, but her gentle refusal struck chords deep within him. "Community means so much more than money," she said, her voice steady but gentle, a rock amidst chaos. Those words echoed in Sam's mind, linking him to a notion he'd ignored for far too long. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let us continue. As they pulled into Emily's drive, the winds unleashed their fury, sending rain slashing against the windows. Sam watched, mesmerized, as Emily leaped into action, grabbing essentials for her children. The chaos unfolded beautifully. In a moment, she was a lioness, fierce and primal, securing their sanctuary from the storm. Sam couldn't just sit there. He was drawn to the scene unfolding before him. Together they boarded up windows, crafting barriers against the storm while sharing laughter and stories. Here, in this chaotic dance of life, stark contrasts melted away, exposing their shared humanity. And then came the moment darkness enveloped them. The storm raged outside, but within that minivan, they faced truths they had locked away for too long. Would they breach the barriers made by their worlds? Sam felt the warmth of something unexpected, leaving him wrestling with thoughts of connection and community as thunder cracked the sky. What would their next chapter hold? The winds howled, leaving them nestled in a cocoon of uncertainty, both lives flickering on the edge of transformation. The winds howled outside, filling the air with a sense of urgency. Sam watched as Emily worked, her brow furrowed with determination. He marveled at her strength, the way she balanced chaos with grace. Each time she looked his way, that spark of shared understanding brightened the dim interior of the minivan. "Can you help me check the kids?" she asked, her voice slicing through the noise outside. "I just need to make sure they're settled for the night." Nervously, Sam nodded. He slid into the back seat of the minivan, where Zoe and Ethan were huddled under a blanket, their tiny faces illuminated by the soft glow of a tablet screen. The sight of the two siblings wrapped up in each other made his heart ache. It was a portrait of normalcy he had rarely experienced. In this moment, wealth felt intangible, fleeting. "Hey there," he said, lowering his voice to a soothing whisper. "How are you two holding up?" Ethan glanced up, his big brown eyes full of curiosity. "Who are you?" he asked, his little brow scrunching up in suspicion. "Oh, just a friend of your mom's," Sam replied, forcing a smile. "I got mixed up in the car and ended up here." Zoe giggled at that, the sound music to his ears. "You're funny," she shouted, and it seemed to calm both her brother and the unease settling in Sam. Emily returned, positioning herself beside him, the storm still raging outside. She caught the tail end of Zoe's laughter and smiled, a moment of warmth breaking through the tension. "See, you've already made a friend," she teased, reaching out to ruffle Ethan's hair affectionately. "Tell me about it," Sam said, his voice dropping almost conspiratorially. "What's playing on the tablet?" The two children eagerly explained their game. Sam puffed himself up, pretending to be a superhero, and the brothers and sister laughed in earnest. For a moment there was no wealth, no gala, just the simplest joys of childhood tucked away from a storm. But then the thunder crashed again, louder than before, rattling the windows. Sam felt a shiver running down his spine, a reminder that this storm was real and threatening. His thoughts drifted. What if I could help more? The idea ignited something inside him. A desire to do better, to impact their lives beyond this chance moment, began to grow. "Emily," he started, hesitating, grappling with a sudden urgency. "I know you're having a tough time." "And I will be fine," she interrupted gently, but her eyes betrayed the weight of her words. "Promise. It's just for tonight." "But I can do more than just sit here," he insisted, the fire of determination pushing through his doubts. "I have resources. I can help with the kids, the bills, whatever you need." Emily's expression shifted, surprise mixed with something more vulnerable. "You don't know my life. It's complicated." "Maybe that's exactly why we should talk," he countered, feeling a resolute connection. There was something between them. This moment was fragile but vital. "We both have things we can learn. Let us not waste this." A flicker of contemplation crossed Emily's face, and he felt a tightness, a tether forming in that small space. Sam could feel his heart racing as he considered the enormity of his proposal. Would Emily allow herself to lean on someone else? Would she let him step into her world? As the storm raged on, he looked deep into her eyes, seeing a reflection of his own longing. The question lingered between them, a bridge yet to be crossed. Could they forge a path forward together? The winds howled again, echoing their uncertainty. What if Sam began, feeling the weight of the moment? What if we took the first step tonight? And just like that, the darkness outside felt a little less lonely. The rain pounded against the van like a persistent drummer, and inside, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Emily ran a hand through her hair, her eyes momentarily drifting away from Sam's gaze. The flicker of hope mixed with doubt showed on her face. "What do you mean by the first step?" she asked quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. The kids were still focused on their tablet, oblivious to the deeper current swirling around them. Sam took a deep breath, gathering his thoughts. "I know things can get overwhelming, especially with everything you're dealing with, but if you let me in, we can figure it out together. You don't have to shoulder this alone." He could see the conflict etched in the lines of Emily's face. "It's not that simple," she replied, her voice laced with worry. "I can't just accept help like that. I don't want to be a burden." Zoe, sensing tension, looked up from the screen. "Mommy, is everything okay?" Her small brow knitted with concern as she snuggled closer to Ethan. Emily forced a smile, putting on a brave front for her children. "Yes, sweetie. Just talking to Sam about the storm." Sam leaned in, softening his tone. "Hey Zoe, Ethan, what would you say if I told you I have some fun games at my place? Maybe once the storm clears we could have a playdate? I'm really good at video games." Ethan perked up, his eyes sparkling with interest. "You have video games? Can you beat Mom?" With a chuckle, Sam nodded. "I'm pretty good, but I think your mom has a few tricks up her sleeve." Zoe's giggle filled the air again, lightening the mood. It was just what Sam needed to see. He turned his attention back to Emily, ready to make her understand that accepting help didn't mean giving up. "But it doesn't have to be like that, Emily," Sam said more passionately this time. "Look, you've done everything to protect them. But you deserve to have some support. People don't thrive in isolation. Ask yourself, what if it was someone else in your position? Would you let them struggle alone?" Her gaze slipped from his, staring into the rain-lashed windshield. He noticed the tension in her shoulders loosening slightly. I get afraid," she confessed, her voice trembling. "What happens when I let someone in? What if I fall apart?" "Then you don't fall alone," Sam assured her, feeling the weight of his own heart. "And besides, I've been there. Trust me, it helps to let someone in." I struggle too. You think my life is perfect? Emily met his eyes, uncertainty wavering but shifting into something stronger. Maybe it is, maybe I'm just overthinking this. Join the club, he chuckled lightly, reaching out to touch her hand, a small gesture that somehow felt monumental. Just then the wind howled, whipping around the minivan as flashes of light burst through the darkness. Sam felt the jolt of the thunder echo through him. Outside, nature was raging, but inside, for the first time that night, a fragile peace took root. I'll help with the kids, Sam declared firmly. And if I need you to lean on me, I'll ask. But I don't expect you to carry this alone anymore. Emily's breath caught in her throat. What if I can't? He smiled, a warmth billowing between them. Then we figure it out together, one step at a time. The heavier clouds seemed to lessen their grip, the sound of the storm fading. In that moment of shared vulnerability, he saw a flicker of acceptance in her eyes, a chance for movement beyond fear. But just as the atmosphere lightened, the storm splintered into a sudden flash of piercing light, illuminating the interior. What now? Emily asked, her tone balancing between hope and skepticism. Now, Sam stated firmly, we take a step forward together. And outside, the storm was changing, promising a different kind of transformation ahead. The sound of rain softened, replaced by a muted hum. Outside, the faintest hint of dawn was breaking through the thick clouds. The storm had begun to retreat, leaving behind an almost surreal quiet. Inside the van, however, the air was charged with unspoken emotions. Emily glanced at Sam, her heart thundering like the storm just moments ago. Together she murmured, the word rolling off her tongue with a sweetness she hadn't anticipated. It felt like a promise not just to him but to herself too. The anxiety that had been gnawing at her began to ebb, replacing despair with a flicker of hope. Zoe and Ethan, still absorbed in their digital world, were blissfully unaware of the shifting tides around them. Emily smiled softly, watching her children. They were her world, her everything. Their laughter and innocence were her motivation to keep pushing forward. Hey, Sam broke the silence, his voice gentle. How about we take a break and just breathe? The rain's finally letting up. He scanned the kids who nodding distractedly, a little lost in their universe of pixels. Emily chuckled lightly. They're definitely not ready to leave their game behind. They'll be fine, he winked. Besides, I bet they'd rather have a little adventure than sit in here all morning. Her heart warmed at the sight of his initiative, the way he took charge while ensuring she felt included. You think they'll really like your place? I have no doubt, especially if I'm beating you in video games, he teased, a sparkle in his eyes bringing a smile to her face. Look, how about I grab some snacks for us while we wait for the rain to clear completely? Kids love snacks. He winked again, a playful joy bubbling between them. To her surprise, Emily felt a rush of excitement constructing a small base of camaraderie between them, a first step toward breaking her isolation. Okay, let us do it. But if they stage a revolt over those snacks, I'm blaming you. Just then, the van door swung open, and the smell of wet asphalt mixed with the earthy scent of nature delighted her senses. The world outside was drenched but somehow was beginning to reveal its brilliant colors, green leaves glowing brighter, flowers timidly opening. Sam climbed out, and she admired him for a moment, a man who seemed to embrace life with open arms. As he disappeared for a moment, Emily closed her eyes, allowing the fresh, cool air to wash over her. The fear still lingered, gnawing at her gut, whispering that letting someone in might lead her to disaster. But another part of her thrummed with the possibility of connection, laughter, and support. Mommy! Zoe's voice rang out, pulling her from her thoughts. Can we go out? It's not raining anymore. Just give it a second, Emily called back, her heart lightening at the prospect of adventurous chaos. Soon Sam returned, arms laden with treats. He grinned like a kid on Christmas morning. I might have gone a little overboard, he admitted, and indeed, a colorful assortment of candies and chips tumbled from the bags he'd just brought back. Wow, are you trying to bribe them? Emily laughed, feeling the tension ease further. Maybe a little, he smirked. Bit of sugar never hurt anyone. Zoe and Ethan leaped from their seats, dashing towards Sam with wide, eager eyes. Laughter bubbled from Emily as Sam knelt down, giving them the full attention they craved. All right, kiddos. Who wants candy? He announced, and their squeals of delight echoed through the via as Emily looked at them. A warmth settled within her. Sam was right. She didn't have to do this alone. Acceptance was hard, but it felt like a raft in a tumultuous sea. Yet, a new worry began to stir in her chest. What would happen once the storm cleared? What unseen challenges awaited, waiting just beyond the horizon? With hesitant hope, she looked towards the van door, where the fresh air seemed to invite her to take the plunge into something new. But would she be ready when the chance came? Here we go, she sighed, taking a moment to steady her heartbeat. Just then, a loud crash in the distance startled her, drawing her attention. What was that? Emily felt the tension curl back into her stomach. Whatever lay ahead, she would soon have to face, together or apart. What was supposed to be a simple day had spiraled into something she never prepared for. The echo of the crash faded into an unsettling silence that hung heavy in the air. Emily's heart raced as she exchanged a nervous glance with Sam. What was that? She whispered, her voice barely a thread above the hum of the morning. The kids had paused mid-celebration, their excitement replaced by curiosity. Sam rose, brushing crumbs from his hands. Let us check it out, he suggested, his tone light but cautious. Emily hesitated, a feeling of dread creeping up her spine. What if it's something dangerous? Or it could just be a tree branch falling. Look at the trees, some are still swaying from the wind. Sam gestured outside, attempting to assure her. The promise of adventure sparkled in his eyes, and for the first time, she felt the cautious edge of her worry dull a little. Okay, let us see, she relented, taking Zoe and Ethan's hands. With Sam leading the way, they stepped into the fresh morning air, the dampness lingering like a gentle shroud. The landscape was transformed from the chaotic storm to vibrant renewal. Birds chirped, flitting about like they owned the sky. The scent of wet earth filled her lungs, a reminder of survival. With cautious steps they moved toward the source of the crash, curiosity taking the reins over fear. As they approached the edge of the clearing, Emily's heart sank. A large tree had lost a branch, one that now lay across a sports car, its sleek lines now marred. Sam moved closer, examining the scene. Looks like nobody was inside, he said, tapping on the trunk. At least it wasn't worse. Just as relief flooded Emily, a figure emerged from the adjacent path. It was a man, dashing and disheveled, wearing a suit that had seen better days. He looked frantic, eyes wide as he surveyed the damage. My car! He exclaimed, rushing forward. Hey, are you okay? Sam called out. The man paused, taking a deep breath, his face contorting with a mix of emotions, panic and disbelief. I just got this car 2 weeks ago. I can't believe it. That's just a branch, Sam reasoned, playing the mediator. No one was hurt. We can help. Maybe we can move it? I don't know, the man stammered, casting a worried look at Sam. Emily stepped forward, her compassionate heart swelling. We'll figure it out together. Let us just take a towel and see if we can push it. I know it's frustrating, but we're here to help. The man looked at her, surprised by her kindness. Thank you, really. The four of them gathered around the fallen branch. Zoe and Ethan grasped it tightly, while Sam and the man pushed from the other side. Emily willed her feet to stay grounded, encouraging the kids as they struggled against the weight of it. They laughed amidst the toil, a spontaneous unity forming in that moment of adversity. With grunts and little shoves, they finally heaved the branch away from the car, leaving it untouched. The man leaned against the side of the vehicle, breathless yet beaming. How did you manage that? I thought it was hopeless. Sam shared a warm smile with Emily, sensing the victory. Teamwork, he said simply, glancing at her with a knowing look. Let us get you some coverage for that, Emily suggested to the man while feeling a surge of pride. How about a nice coffee to celebrate our little rescue? He nodded, looking at her as if he couldn't comprehend how a stranger was willing to share kindness when things had gone awry. Sure. I guess that's the least I could do to say thank you. As they walked back toward the van in casual camaraderie, it hit Emily that maybe opening up and taking risks wouldn't spell disaster for her. Maybe it could lead to wonderful moments and unexpected friendships. But as they neared the van, a car pulled up nearby, its engine rumbling ominously. The driver was a man in dark sunglasses, looking out expectantly. Something in the air shifted, attention creeping back into the scene. Emily couldn't shake the feeling that their adventure was only beginning. What truth lay behind those sunglasses? What new challenges awaited? Sam shifted uncomfortably as they drew closer to the parked van. The sunglasses-clad man in the vehicle seemed to dominate the space, a shadow lurking against the simplicity of their day. Emily's heart quickened again, a pulse of instinct that told her to be wary. "Maybe we should hurry," Zoe whispered, holding Ethan's hand tighter. "Just a second," Sam reassured, shooting a glance at Emily that spoke volumes. Something was off about the new arrival. The man in sunglasses adjusted his grip on the steering wheel, his expression unreadable. He wasn't going to let it go, not without being acknowledged. "Is everything all right?" he called out, his voice smooth but laced with command. "Just helping this guy with his car," Sam replied, his body tensing in response. "It's nothing serious. We're all fine here." The stranger's lips curled into a knowing smile, his eyes gleaming with a mix of mischief and authority. "Are you sure? Because it looks like you're all gathered around a problem, and problems can sometimes lead to complications." Emily felt a chill run down her spine, and instinctively moved a step closer to Sam, who took a protective stance beside her. This guy was trouble. She could feel it in her bones. The man in the suit took a step forward, brushing past Emily and reaching the window of his own car. "I think I can help. I was just on my way to meet someone important," but his gaze flicked to the man whose car was damaged. "Maybe I feel like contributing some good karma today instead." Emily exchanged anxious looks with Sam. They didn't even know this guy yet. Was his offer sincere or just a ruse to draw them closer? "Thanks, but we've got it covered," she said firmly, projecting confidence even as her heart raced. Before the stranger could respond, the suit man had slipped out of the shadows, his irritation rising. "You've got this covered?" he echoed, sarcasm dripping from his tongue. "With a group of kids. Interesting approach you have there. If you're trying to help, just go," Sam replied, his voice steady, but Emily could hear the thin layer of tension. The sunglasses man stepped out of his car fully, tall and imposing, and scanned the parking lot as if he were in charge of the whole place. Emily wasn't intimidated by him so much as puzzled. He seemed to be sizing up everyone like pieces on a chessboard. Suddenly Zoe pointed. "Look." Everyone turned. A bright flash caught their attention. A car with colorful graphics that looked like it belonged in a movie pulled into the lot, tires screeching slightly as it came to a stop. A young woman with vibrant pink hair leaped out, her phone in hand. "Sorry, I'm late," she yelled, looking flustered. The new arrival tossed her hair back, her presence instantly lightening the mood. "Is anyone hurt?" she asked, glancing around at the group. "Just a tree branch and a bit of panic," Sam replied, a bit of relief breaking through Emily's anxiety. The sunglasses man's brow furrowed as he directed his attention toward the new figure, narrowing his eyes. "And who might you be?" he asked, the authority palpable in his tone. Emily felt the air thickening, a fight brewing between the odd trio. "We should get out of here," she whispered to Sam, but he didn't budge. All eyes were locked on who could win the skirmish. As tensions boiled, she wasn't just concerned for them. She was battling her own instincts about feeling safe in this unfamiliar situation. Who knew what might happen next? The man in sunglasses smiled again, but this time there was a sharpness behind it. "Let us see if luck is on our side today." What had begun as a simple act of kindness was spiraling into a scene that felt dangerously charged. Emily's heart raced anew, and she felt the full weight of the adventure they had stepped into. What secrets were hidden beneath the surface? What decisions lay ahead that could alter everything? Emily held her breath, the tension hanging thick in the air. The sunglasses man straightened, positioning himself like a barrier between the group and their chances of escape. He didn't just want to meddle, he wanted control. The pink-haired woman, however, seemed blissfully unaware of the growing storm. "I'm Lizzie," she said brightly, turning her attention to the standoff. "And I really did think I was late to a party. This is way more exciting." Instead of laughter, her comment sparked a ripple of apprehension. Zoe shivered beside Emily, pulling Ethan even closer. The playful nature of Lizzie's arrival faded as the sunglasses man offered a thin smile, holding Lizzie's gaze. "Exciting? Maybe. Dangerous? Quite possibly. Why don't you move along, then?" Sam stepped forward, his voice carrying a forceful edge. "We're fine here." The sunglasses man's smile widened, but his expression remained cold. "You do understand where you are, right?" Or perhaps you missed the memo about the unsavory types that tend to overstay their welcome. Are you calling us unsavory? Sam shot back, fists clenching by his sides. It's not you I'm worried about, the man replied, voice smooth but full of venom. But you should be worried about who might be watching you. Listening to their confrontation, Emily felt trapped in a web of danger that no one else seemed to perceive. She could see the worry on Zoe's face, and even Ethan was increasingly uneasy, staring wide-eyed at the unfolding drama. Let's just go, Emily urged, but Sam and Lizzie remained planted, locked in their defensive postures. Just then, Lizzie broke the tension with a chuckle that rang clear. I mean, come on. This isn't a movie. Just some folks trying to figure out a broken car, right? She swung her arms wide, making a theatrical gesture. The sunglasses man's annoyance rippled through the stillness, and for a moment, it felt like the air itself was holding its breath. Clever girl, he murmured almost to himself, but his gaze shifted to Lizzie with a newfound intensity. Emily's heart pounded. You don't know what you're asking for, she warned Lizzie, but all she got in return was a whimsical, almost reckless grin. I think I know exactly what I'm asking for, a bit of excitement. But excitement could turn deadly quickly. The second the man stepped closer, Emily felt her body instinctively inch back. It was like a magnet. He was drawing everyone into his orbit of pressure. I don't have time for games, he said, sharpening his focus on Lizzie. I suggest you walk away before things get messy. Messy? That's a funny word choice when you're already standing in a pile of problems. Lizzie shot back, unfazed. Emily caught Sam's eye, seeing the alarm buried under the surface of his confident facade. He was thinking the same thing she was. They were out of their depths. At that moment, Emily wished she had the power to turn her fear into something fierce. Guys, we really should, she began, but was immediately cut off as Lizzie took a deliberate step forward. The only real problem here is misunderstanding, she said, her tone now taut with tension. And I'm here to figure it all out. The sunglasses man laughed, a low, dangerous sound that sent chills through Emily. You think you can settle disputes, little girl? Let me show you the consequences of conflicting interests. It felt like the ground shifted beneath them, and Emily's heart raced with panic. A million thoughts ran through her head, and she felt the encroaching darkness of what could go wrong. Suddenly, a new voice broke through the rising tide of conflict. Hey, everyone okay? The arrival of a tall figure dressed in a uniform, an employee from a nearby store, seemed to slice through the tension with an unexpected breeze. The sunglasses man immediately turned, sizing this new player up as if it shifted the entire battlefield. What's going on here? The uniformed man asked, and tension rippled through the gathered crowd again. Different this time. Emily held her breath, each second feeling longer as the atmosphere shifted. The sunglasses man stiffened and, without knowing why, she realized they had just been handed a lifeline. What would happen next? Would everyone manage to escape the growing chaos around them, or would they be dragged further into the unknown? The store employee stood there, eyes darting between the group and the man in sunglasses, who now had the look of a predator interrupted mid-hunt. Emily felt an electric charge course through the air, like the moment right before a storm breaks. The man's posture shifted, and for a heartbeat, the simmering tension faded slightly. What's going on? The employee asked again, a hint of authority in his voice, but it was drowned out by the noise of Emily's heart thudding in her chest. This didn't feel like the end of trouble, it felt more like a tiny spark in a dry field. Lizzie took a step back, a glimmer of realization in her eyes. We're just having a bit of a chat. Nothing too serious. Her voice was casual, but the way her fingers fidgeted with the hem of her shirt spoke louder. The sunglasses man's cold gaze was no longer on her. Mind your business, he snapped, his tone venomous. It was like watching a tiger's smooth stride change into a crouch, preparing to leap. I'm gonna call security if you don't, the store employee began. But the sunglasses man cut him off altogether, issuing a low laugh that was more menacing than lighthearted. Everyone felt a collective shiver, fear wrapped around their insides like a tightening knot. Go ahead, he replied, the casual bravado a stark contrast to the danger that lingered beneath. It seems you're outnumbered here. Emily's mind raced. None of this felt right, and she could see that Zoe and Ethan were practically glued to each other, their faces painted in shades of fright. Sam's expression, a mix of defiance and worry, fell toward her. What do we do? he mouthed, and it made Emily's heart swell with dread. She felt anchored by fear, but a simmering resolve flickered in her chest. She couldn't let this unfold. Not like this. The employee seemed unfazed by the sunglasses man. I can't let you threaten people. His voice held its ground, and even though he stood alone against a wall of tense hostility, there was something undeniably strong in his demeanor. Suddenly Lizzie jumped back into the fray. Look, we're all just people trying to figure out our next moves. We don't need to escalate this. Her words resonated with the uneasy crowd, a plea pushing through the tension like a breath of fresh air. Escalate? The sunglasses man echoed, his eyes narrowing. You'll soon learn that the stakes are higher, and you are all just pawns on a board that doesn't give a damn about your little conversations. Before anyone could respond, the store employee pulled out his phone. I'm calling the cops, he said steadily, his voice unyielding. Even though fear crept up Emily's spine, she felt a small flicker of hope. Maybe this was the lifeline they needed. But the sunglasses man's expression shifted. An unsettling smile unfurled on his lips. Go ahead, he taunted, but you might regret it. Just then the ground rumbled beneath them. A loud engine revved outside. Emily peered through the light and could see a sleek black car pulling up, the windows tinted far beyond what was normal. Instinctively her heart raced. She felt that the arrival of this car would tilt the balance yet again. What does he have to do with this? Zoe whispered, her voice shaking. She bit her lip, fear mingling with curiosity as the sunglasses man's facade cracked ever so slightly. Emily leaned in close to Sam. What if this is worse than we thought? She murmured, dread pooling in her stomach like ice. Hang on, Sam replied. The tension was palpable. Everything hung on a knife edge as they waited to see who would step out of the car. The moment stretched into infinity, and Emily felt the energy shift around them. Brace yourself, she whispered, as the figures began to emerge from the shadows of the tinted glass, and fear gripped her tighter than ever before. What new threat were they about to face? The answer danced just out of reach, tantalizing and terrifying all at once. The car door swung open. A figure in a dark suit stepped out, the sunlight glinting off the briefcase in his hand. His presence was commanding, exuding an aura of authority that filled the parking lot like a thick fog. Everyone held their breath, frozen in place. Do you really think you can handle this? The suited man asked, his voice low and measured, but there was no mistaking the sharp edge behind his words. He glanced at the sunglasses man, eyebrows raised in condescension. The tension thickened, wrapping around the group like a vice. What is it to you? The sunglasses man barked, his bravado faltering for just a moment. Emily could see the dangerous flicker in his eyes, an indication that he was no longer in control. It was a crack in the facade, and she felt a flicker of hope coursing through her. I'm not here to play games, the newcomer replied, all business. His eyes surveyed the group, lingering on the store employee before shifting back to the sunglasses man. You've overstayed your welcome, and it's time for you to leave. The sunglasses man's expression darkened, jaw tightening. You think you can order me around, suit? He snarled, but even his threat lacked conviction. Emily couldn't help but feel a rush of adrenaline. There was something about the newcomer. Was it confidence, power? Whatever it was, it had brought a momentary pause to the chaos, and she seized it. Let us just all take a step back, Lizzie interjected, her voice shaking slightly but louder now. This doesn't need to end badly for anyone. Behind her, Zoe clutched Ethan's arm tightly, a silent plea for safety. They were all in this together. A small island against the waves of confrontation crashing around them. Emily felt the bond they shared grow stronger in that moment, a united front bathed in uncertainty. The suited man's lips curled into a faint smile. It's already too late to escape your choices, he said, stepping closer to the sunglasses man, who backed away, the bravado fading. But you can walk out now or stay and face the consequences. Emily held her breath, heart rising in her throat. Was this a turning point? The air crackled with possibility. She could feel Sam's warm hand gripping hers, offering silent support, and she drew strength from it. Then, to her shock, the sunglasses man's demeanor shifted entirely. He laughed, but it was an empty sound, a mask hiding the vulnerability beneath. You think you can intimidate me? I have friends who LL friends? The suited man cut him off, a glint of irony in his voice. Friends 1T help you here. You know that as well as I do. It's time to go. The sunglasses man hesitated, his bravado slipping. Emily felt the collective breath of her friends behind her, a great sigh that started to fill the space between fear and relief. Just then a police siren wailed in the distance, the sound drawing nearer. The tension rose even higher. Would that save them or escalate things further? Last chance, the suited man said, his voice steady, but it was clear the clock was ticking. Emily could feel the world narrow down to this very moment. Everything depended on how this ended. In that instant, she saw a flicker change in the sunglasses man's eyes. This was less about power now and more about survival. Fine, he sneered, but the threat in his tone had faded. You'll regret this. With one last glance at the group, he began to retreat, slipping back into the shadows of the parking lot. The suited man turned, standing tall against the backdrop of uncertainty. Are you all okay? He asked softly, his eyes scanning each one of them, looking deeper than mere appearances. It was a show of humanity that felt grounding. As they started to breathe once more, the police car pulled into the lot, lights swirling in colorful urgency. Emily could almost taste the relief, but lingering doubt curled in her stomach. Had they truly escaped? Or was this just the calm before a greater storm? As the officer stepped out, pulling out her notebook, Emily knew their ordeal wasn't over. Questions still hung in the air like the residual tension of a sparring match, leaving an unsettling sense that something much bigger was unfolding. Who else was involved and how far did this reach? She felt the shards of uncertainty tightening again, realizing the headache from all this would last much longer than the fear had. What exactly had they just stepped into? The air was thick with tension, but as relief washed over Emily and the group, she felt the fragile bonds they'd formed begin to strengthen. The sounds of sirens and the arrival of the police officer brought a deep sigh of gratitude. They had endured a storm in the night, and now they had faced a different kind of threat. In the face of adversity, they had emerged victorious, or so it seemed. Emily felt a protective surge as she glanced down at Zoe and Ethan. They clung to her sides, eyes wide with a mix of fear and curiosity. She realized how much she cherished their innocence, how fiercely she wanted to shield them from any trace of danger that lingered in their lives. Just a little longer, kiddos, she whispered. You're safe now. Their tiny faces relaxed slightly, and the warmth of that bond ignited a fire in her chest. Sam stood beside her, his presence comforting and steady. We're okay, he assured, his voice calm as he addressed the officer. No one was hurt, just some unresolved tension. Emily caught his eye, and in that shared glance, an understanding passed between them, a silent recognition of growth that had blossomed in the chaos. The police officer, a middle-aged woman with a no-nonsense demeanor, nodded slowly, absorbing the situation. Why don't you all gather over here? I'll need to take a statement from each of you. She gestured towards the curb, and one by one they complied, forming a makeshift circle as they settled onto the ground. Emily felt an unexpected camaraderie bubble to the surface. A sense of unity tethered them all together, shouting louder than the uncertainty that had initially threatened to devour them. Sam exchanged witty banter with Lizzie, who responded with her cheeky remarks. Zoe and Ethan's laughter rang through the air, successfully dispelling any lingering shadows. Who knew a stormy night could lead to an adventure like this? Lizzie said brightly. Could be the start of something amazing. Emily felt a warm rush of hope at her words. And then something shifted inside her. She wasn't just a survivor of her circumstances anymore. She was a beacon of strength for her kids and others around her. Maybe it was time to accept that help didn't mean weakness. Maybe it was the embrace of connection she so desperately needed. As the officer moved closer, Emily cleared her throat, ready to share her perspective. Actually, I think all of us could use a moment to reflect on how we can support each other moving forward, she said, her voice slightly trembling but firm. The officer paused, looking genuinely intrigued. Elaborate, she encouraged. Tonight has shown us that while chaos can descend at any moment, we have the power to come together. Emily continued, glancing at Sam, who nodded encouragingly. In my own life, I've always tried to manage everything myself. But maybe that's not how it's supposed to be. We're stronger together. Sam chimed in. Exactly. We've got resources, and we can create a community around understanding and support. It shouldn't just end with tonight. His eyes sparked with interpretation. He was locked into something bigger. Zoe and Ethan shifted closer, listening intently. Somehow, this had become more than a chaotic encounter. It had transformed into a moment of growth and understanding. The officer jotted down notes, visibly impressed with their resolve. "I think you're onto something here. What you're talking about isn't just a resolution to a problem. It's building a foundation for a community to thrive." A warmth enveloped them as they spoke about creating local support networks. Ideas poured out, visions of community gardens, game nights, and shared resources materializing into existence. It felt invigorating, almost contagious, as laughter and hope intertwined. And in the background, the sun began to break through the clouds, illuminating their makeshift gathering with golden rays. Emily's heart swelled. This felt right. The fierce power of kindness, resilience, and acceptance surged through her veins, rejecting fear and despair as they wrapped up their statements and exchanged contact information. The weight of the night began to lift. With newfound determination, they promised to meet again, to plant the seeds of their shared vision. As everyone began to disperse, Emily felt a deep sense of satisfaction wash over her. She turned to Sam, feeling grateful once more. "You still up for that playdate?" she teased lightly. "A playdate?" Sam chuckled. "Only if I can bring snacks." Zoe squealed in delight, and Emily couldn't help but laugh. In this moment, each piece fell into place. Bonds forged in the depths of struggle shimmered with the light of hope and connection. They were not alone anymore. Fault lines had fused into a vibrant community looking toward a brighter future. And as they walked away, Emily felt a wave of unyielding strength wash over her. It was time to embrace this new adventure with her head held high. Life would always have its storms, but they now knew how to weather them together. So, remember, the next time you see someone struggling, try to extend your hand. You never know what extraordinary transformation might come from it. Now, if you enjoyed this incredible journey, you need to subscribe to the channel immediately. This is the moment to show your support and not miss our next exclusive stories. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. And please, leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your voice matters. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this gripping ending. Let us build this community together.